What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. Alright guys, so it's time for us to jump back into more Ultimate Marvel. And today guys, we are going to pick up with Ultimate X-Men Volume 6. Now guys, this is Mark Millar's last story on the Ultimate X-Men title. After him, we're going to see Brian Michael Bendis give us two stories, and then after Brian Michael Bendis, it's going to be a different writer. But guys, this is Mark Millar's last story on Ultimate X-Men, and guys, it is called Return of the King. We covered the prelude last week, but today guys, we are going to cover the actual story right here today. Now guys, this is honestly a good story to me, and honestly, this is probably the best story Mark Millar did on the Ultimate X-Men title. Now guys, this does take place in Ultimate X-Men number 27 through, I want to say 33. I could be wrong. But guys, I do hope you enjoy this story right here. But guys, let's go ahead and dive into Ultimate X-Men Volume 6. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men Volume 6, the way the story starts off guys, we pick up with the Brotherhood of Mutants right now just attacking a random art museum. And the reason why they are attacking this art museum is because Magneto believes that sooner or later the war between humans and mutants is going to get crazy to the point where some countries might get affected by nuclear missiles. And so if that happens, paintings that Magneto loves will get lost in the war because they will be destroyed. And so what he's doing right now, he's saying, listen, my Brotherhood of Mutants, I need you to go out there and get these different pieces of artwork and bring them back to our new base in the North Pole, because I would hate to see these artworks destroyed because of the war between humans and mutants. Now, we do jump over to the White House. Now guys, this is really important right here because you do have Nick Fury say, listen guys, we have made brand new Sentinel robots to help fight against Magneto. If he comes at us, these robots right here will be able to protect the president, but also protect anybody against Magneto. That is our main concern, is to get the #1 terrorist in America back in his prison cell, because we have no other weapons to use except these Sentinel projects. Now, you do have the president ask Nick Fury, okay, cool, you do have robots, but how about the satellites? And we kind of find out that Tony Stark, who's also part of the Ultimates, is telling Nick Fury and telling the president that, listen, his new satellites will be set up and running in a few hours. And once they're up and running, they'll be able to find Magneto. And that's their main goal right now, is to find Magneto. Because as soon as they find Magneto, they're going to send in their new Sentinel project in to capture Magneto. Now, we do jump over to Maria Mctaggart. Now guys, remember, in the Ultimate Universe, Maria Mctaggart is Charles Xavier's ex-wife in this universe. But the thing is though, once the X-Men went underground in Ultimate War, Maria Mctaggart also had to go underground with her mutants. And so right now, we pick up with her just still on the run and going to one of the many safe houses that Charles Xavier basically given her to use until everything is okay again for the X-Men and also for her. The thing is though, as soon as she arrives in one of her safe houses, she does get a phone call from Nightcrawler. Now, this is our first time seeing Nightcrawler since Volume 2 of Ultimate X-Men back in the Weapon X storyline. But the thing is though, you have Nightcrawler say, listen, Maria, I got this phone number from Charles Xavier before everything fell apart for the X-Men. And I was told if anything happens, if there's a huge emergency, call this number. But the thing is though, you have Maria say, listen, Nightcrawler, I don't know you heard, but the X-Men have been captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. Now in reality, only Charles Xavier has been captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. But to Maria and the rest of the world, the whole X-Men roster has been captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. But the thing is though, you have Maria say, everything is falling apart for the world. The X-Men has been captured and Magneto is on the loose. But you do have Nightcrawler say, listen, I'm on the run from the German police, but I'll be on my way to meet up with you so we can go over a new game plan to hopefully figure out how in the world can we stop Magneto, but also get the X-Men back out of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, to wrap up the first part of Ultimate X-Men Volume 6, we do jump back over to Sabretooth and at the new base of Magneto in the North Pole. Now, you do have Sabretooth talk to a new character introduced to us in this storyline right here named Forge. Now, Forge is a long-term famous X-Men character in the in the main Marvel timeline. But for Ultimate Marvel, this is his first appearance right here. And I'm pretty sure he only appears in this story and we do not see him ever again. I could be wrong, but we do see Forge talking to Sabretooth about what he's working on for Magneto at the new base in the North Pole. And the thing is though, you have Forge say, this device that I'm working on right now is going to amplify Magneto powers 10 times, probably 100 times than he is right now. He'll be able to affect the whole world any way he wants to. Now, what he's going to do, we have no idea. But once the machine is up and running, he can do anything he wants across the world just from this machine right here. And that makes him a very powerful threat. Now, you do have Magneto go into space. And the reason why he went into space at the very end of the first part of this storyline is because he found out that Tony Stark was building satellites in space to help track down Magneto. Guys, remember, earlier in the video, I just said that Nick Fury told the president that Tony Stark is making satellites to find Magneto. But Magneto got word that Tony Stark was doing that. And so you have Magneto go into space and he just destroys the satellite completely. And he also leaves the people who were in space working on that stranded in space and saying, this is their fault. It's not your fault. It is S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fault. It is your government's fault that you guys will have a slow death out here in space. Now guys, when it comes to the next chapter of Volume 6 of Ultimate X-Men, we do jump over to Chicago. And the thing is though guys, we pick up with a random group of Brotherhood of Mutant characters right now doing some random terrorist attack. Now, the thing is though, you do have the X-Men respond to their attack and the X-Men do defeat them. Now, the reason why the X-Men are making their first appearance ever since Ultimate War is for two reasons. The first reason is to say, hey, listen, S.H.I.E.L.D. told the world that they were able to capture the X-Men. That is incorrect. They were only able to capture Charles Xavier. They weren't able to capture us, the actual X-Men roster, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and so on and so on. But the second reason why they are stopping the Brotherhood of Mutants in Chicago is because they want to show the world that they're not bad guys. Even though S.H.I.E.L.D. and the government of America is telling the world that, hey, listen, the X-Men are just as bad as the Brotherhood of Mutants, you have the X-Men saying, no, that's not true. We're not as bad as them. We are actually good. We are trying to make the world better. And so that is why they stopped the Brotherhood of Mutants in Chicago, to give them a message across the world to say, hey, we're not bad guys, we're good guys. Now, we do jump over to the X-Men and at their new safe house. Now guys, this safe house right here is basically a family home. A family lives in this home, but the thing is though, Jean Grey is using her powers to have the family believe that they only live alone, that the X-Men are not there at all. And so the X-Men are able to move freely in the home, but the people who live in that home can't see them because Jean Grey made the X-Men blind in their eyes. Now, before we go over to our next setting, you do have Jean Grey kind of ask Kitty Pryde, do you believe that Wolverine killed Cyclops just to get back to me? Because the thing is though, guys, remember, back in Volume 1, before Cyclops and Jean Grey, you had Wolverine and Jean Grey. But Jean Grey dumped Wolverine and then went to Cyclops. But the thing is though, back in Ultimate War, we come to find out that Cyclops did not return back home from his mission from the Savage Land. Wolverine said he died. And so Jean Grey believes that Wolverine is lying, that Wolverine killed Cyclops to get back to her. Now, we do jump over to Camp X Factor. Now, Camp X Factor is actually a SHIELD base made to hold mutants, and this base is located in Cuba. Now, we do pick up with Nick Fury and Charles Xavier. Now, you do have Nick Fury talking to Charles Xavier about two different things. The first thing is, where in the world are the X-Men are staying? Where is their new safe house? And the thing is though, they are trying to use their psychics to read Charles Xavier's mind to hope to find the safe house of the X-Men, because the X-Men are still most wanted on the SHIELD list. They want to get the X-Men, but also get the Brotherhood of Mutants. And so you have Nick Fury kind of ask Charles, listen, man, just go ahead and tell me where in the world is your X-Men? Which safe house are they staying in this time? Because we need to find them. Because, hey man, listen, you guys lied to us. You told us that you guys killed Magneto, but in reality, you didn't. Now, you do have Charles say, the reason why I lied to you guys because you guys would kill him. If I was able to shut his mind down and hand over Magneto to you, you guys would kill him. But the reason why I lied to you guys, because I was hoping to restart his life. I shut his mind down, made him forget that he was Magneto, that he was the leader of the Brotherhood of Mutants, because I'm trying to make him a better person. Yes, it failed, but that's why I lied to you guys. Now, you do have Nick Fury say, I understand what you're trying to do here, Charles, but you lied to us. And with you lying to us, Magneto has already killed 3,000 people across the world. 3,000 people would be alive if you went ahead and actually killed Magneto. Now go ahead and tell me which safe house the X-Men are using currently. Now, again, you do have Charles say no, but you do have Nick Fury say, that's okay, because we have Nightcrawler here. We were able to capture him in Germany. And the thing is though, he knows which safe house your X-Men are staying. Yes, he does have some kind of techniques to block out our psychics here, but sooner or later, we're going to find out which which safe house the X-Men are using by probing his mind. So you have two options. Go ahead and tell us, or your friend here, Nightcrawler, will tell us by our psychics reading his mind. Now, to go ahead and wrap up Chapter 2 of Ultimate X-Men Volume 6, we do jump back over to the safe house the X-Men are using, the family home. Now, the thing is though, as the X-Men are talking, you do have the X-Men start to argue over different subjects. For example, how to make the world believe the X-Men are good people, because Beast wants to do things in a peaceful way. But when you have a character like Wolverine who basically kills people, that makes it hard for the world to believe that the X-Men are good people, because they are killing people, not actually helping people. And so Beast and Wolverine are arguing. But you also have Jean Grey tell the X-Men and Wolverine that she believes that Wolverine killed Cyclops just to get back to her. Now, while the X-Men are arguing, you do have Magneto appear in front of the X-Men. And you do have Magneto say, listen, We have been enemies. We have fought over and over again. But the reason why I'm here now is because I want to give you guys an invitation to my base in the North Pole. I want us to work together because Charles is gone. You guys need a leader. Join us here at the North Pole base and we can work together. And of course, you do have the X-Men say no. But you do have Magneto say, listen, you have 7 days to change your mind because in 7 days, the world is going to fall apart. Now, guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men Volume 6, Chapter 3, with this chapter here, we do come to find out what happened to Cyclops. Because I remember, at the end of our Ultimate X-Men Volume 4 video, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Kitty Pryde, they were escaping the Savage Land. That was back in Ultimate X-Men Volume 4. But in Ultimate X-Men Volume 5, Ultimate War, we come to find out that Cyclops died. When Wolverine came back home from the Savage Land, he told Jean Grey, I'm sorry, your boyfriend is dead. But the thing is, though, we never knew what happened to him. Well, with this chapter right here of Volume 6, we come to find out that Wolverine basically tried to kill Cyclops. And what I mean is that back in Ultimate X-Men Volume 4, you did have Kitty Pryde, Cyclops, and Wolverine trying to escape the Savage Land. But with Volume 6, it's telling us that while they were trying to escape, Cyclops fell in some kind of pit hole. But Wolverine was able to grab Cyclops' hand. The thing is, though, Cyclops believed that Wolverine was going to pull him up. But Wolverine's kind of like, if this is my chance to get your girlfriend, to get the girl I actually care for back from you, which is Jean Grey, I'm going to kill you. And so Wolverine let go of Cyclops' hand to believe that he can go home to Jean Grey, tell her Cyclops died, and she'll fall right back into his arms. And so we come to find out, after Wolverine let go of Cyclops' hand in that pit hole, Cyclops has been laying there throughout the weeks of Ultimate War and also Ultimate X-Men Volume 6. But Cyclops, he survived. He survived. The thing is, though, he can't move. His body is broken. And so he is basically going through day in and day out, just praying for somebody to walk by him, somebody to say, hey man, who's this guy right here, to save his life. But the thing is, no one finds him. Day in and day out, he lays there with a body full of broken bones, just mad at the world, mad at Wolverine, and he's wishing for somebody to come find him. Now, luckily for Cyclops, he was able to let go one blast out of his eye, and a group of men was able to find him, pick him up, and take him to the North Pole, the base of Magneto, the new base of Magneto. Now guys, when it comes to chapter 4, we once again pick up with Cyclops. Now, with Cyclops, guys, remember, Cyclops arrived at the base of Magneto at the end of chapter 3. And so with Magneto basically having doctors on his base, you had these doctors working on Cyclops. And the thing is, though, 1 week has passed by, and these doctors are also mutants. And so they were able to heal up Cyclops from all his injuries. Every single broken bone, cut, whatever he had, they all have been healed up. And so Cyclops is able to be Cyclops again. The thing is, though, throughout the process, Cyclops heard that he's on the base of Magneto. And so he's kind of like, oh crap, Magneto is back. And the thing is, though, he waited for the right moment to attack the doctors so he'll be able to call in help. And so When the right moment finally arrived, you had Cyclops use his optic beam to take out the doctors and say, bam, this is the right time. This is the right time for me to attack and to get to Magneto. And he grabbed one doctor and say, take me to Magneto. Now, we do jump over to Magneto. And guys, we come to find out the machine that Forge, the guy from the beginning of the storyline, Forge, the machine he was working on is finally done. And guys, the machine that Forge was working on to amplify Magneto's powers is going to give Magneto the ability to use his powers all over the world just from the North Pole. So Magneto is able to use his powers in North America, to South America, to Asia, to Europe, to Africa. Anywhere he wants to use his powers, Magneto can do it. Because the machine that Forge made. Now, you do have Magneto do small things here and there across the world, but one of the biggest things he does is that he sends in a small team of Brotherhood of Mutants to break out Charles Xavier and all the mutants from the Camp X Factor in Cuba. And this is Magneto saying, it's time for me to basically wipe out the human race, starting right now. The thing is though, while all those things are happening, you do have Cyclops come from behind and he blasts Magneto in the back. Now with that happening right there, you do have Magneto kind of like, Cyclops, you are a one-man army trying to fight against me and my Brotherhood of Mutants. What is wrong with you? But you have Cyclops say, dude, I didn't come alone. I called backup, and the X-Men arrive. The rest of the X-Men arrive. Storm, Beast, Colossus, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Iceman, Kitty Pryde. They're all there. They all arrive, and they're all there to fight against Magneto. Now, at first, it does look like our heroes are going to win. But the thing is, though, guys, this is Magneto. He's not no pushover. He's a strong supervillain. And so Magneto was able to defeat the X-Men. And he says, enough. You guys had your chance to join me. You had your chance to join the good side, the mutants, your people. But you turned me down. And just for that, for attacking me also in my base, I am going to set off a nuclear weapon. And he does that. In Miami, he sets off a nuclear weapon because the X-Men attacked him in his own base. And that's the end of chapter 4. Now, with chapter 5, Mark Millar does things a little different. And what I mean is that usually when you have the heroes defeat a bad guy, that is the end of the story. But for Mark Millar, he was kind of like, no, chapter 5 is just the ending for the fight between the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. You still have 2 more chapters to read after this chapter right here. And so what he does with this book right here, you do have the X-Men able to fight against Magneto for a second time. Now, while the X-Men are fighting against Magneto, you do have Charles Xavier and a few mutants from the Camp X Factor trying to help out people in Miami who were affected by the nuclear bomb that Magneto let loose at the end of chapter 4. And so Mark Millar, he gives us 2 different things. He said, listen, you have the X-Men over here fighting against Magneto, but you have Charles Xavier and a few mutants from the Camp X Factor trying to save lives, both humans and mutants, who were infected by the nuclear bomb that Magneto let loose. And so you have 2 different things going on. Now, of course, for Mark Millar in this chapter, you have basically the X-Men on both fronts able to stop this, stop both problems. At Camp X Factor, Charles Xavier contacted Rogue and Nightcrawler to help him take care of the nuclear bomb problem, while the X-Men fought against Magneto. And so with both of them being taken care of, it's kind of like, cool, it's all done. Now, we do get a quick fight at the end of chapter 5 between Wolverine and Cyclops, because for Cyclops, he's kind of like, you know what? Mission accomplished. We stopped Magneto, and Charles Xavier and the mutants from Camp X Factor were able to save the lives in Miami. But it's time for me to handle one more problem, and that problem is Wolverine. Wolverine tried to kill me. That's not cool. I don't like that. And so Cyclops used his optic beam, knocked Wolverine out, and told Wolverine, you're off the team. You are off the team. You try to kill me to get my girl. You are off the team. And Cyclops just walks away, just like that. Now guys, when it comes to chapter 6 of Ultimate X-Men, Mark Millar plays this book very well. I mean, what I mean, guys, that you have less action but more politics in this chapter. And the thing is, though, it's kind of cool what Mark Millar does, because the thing is, though, guys, after the X-Men were able to defeat Magneto and hand Magneto over to S.H.I.E.L.D., you had the X-Men say, take us in too. Take us in. We are turning ourselves in. Take us in with Magneto. And so S.H.I.E.L.D. does that. Matter of fact, down Miami with Charles Xavier, Rogue, and Nightcrawler, you have them also say, take us in too. Take us in because we did break some laws. So take us in. So the whole X-Men roster turned themselves in after capturing Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants. Now, real quick though, guys, we do jump over to the White House. And this is where Mark Millar plays with politics very well in this chapter right here. And what I mean is that you have Nick Fury, Tony Stark, the President of America, and a few other members of the government right now sitting in the White House briefing room. And the thing is, though, you have Nick Fury say, you can't lock up the X-Men. Because Charles Xavier was once again able to play the minds of the public. Because in the beginning, when the X-Men, before the X-Men were formed, the whole world hated mutants. But when Charles lied to the world, made the world believe that Magneto was killed, well, you had half the world believe in the X-Men and fall in love with mutants. But when word got out that Charles lied and used his powers to make the world believe that he killed Magneto, but he didn't, well, the whole world hated Charles Xavier once again. But with the X-Men defeating Magneto once again to save the whole world, not just America like last time, but the whole world, well, you now have a huge portion of people who believe in the X-Men. And so if you want to get reelected as the President of America, you can't lock them away. And so when you have Nick Fury say they're going to be part of S.H.I.E.L.D., but not really, it's a way to please both sides. And so he's kind of like, listen, you're going to have people out there who believe that the X-Men should be locked away. But if they believe that, you can have Nick Fury say, no, they work for S.H.I.E.L.D. So don't worry. They will not cause you guys any more problems because they work under S.H.I.E.L.D. But in reality, they really don't. And for the people who believe the X-Men should be free, well, you'll have Nick Fury say, yeah, they're free. They just work under S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a way to please both sides so the president can get reelected once again. Now, we do jump over to the X-Mansion. And the thing is, though, guys, this part right here is not really minor. It's just the X-Men having a party because you do have S.H.I.E.L.D. release the X-Men and they're all together again with their friends and their families. But the reason why I want to cover this part real quick is because you have Nightcrawler and Rogue both join the X-Men, which builds up the X-Men roster even more. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men Volume 6, Chapter 7, with this chapter right here though guys, we can really skip. I'm not lying to you guys, we can really skip because only two things really happen in this chapter. You do have Magneto and Charles Xavier have one last meeting in the new prison that S.H.I.E.L.D. made for Magneto, but also you have Cyclops go find Wolverine and say, Wolverine, listen, what happened between us is over and you can rejoin the X-Men. That's really it. There's no point for us to sit down and really discuss this because Chapter 7 is so small and so minor, it's not important at all. And so guys, we are going to end today's video right here. But guys, if you did like today's video, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But anyways guys, I'm out of here and I'll see you on the next comic book video. Later guys.